Oh, welcome to the third video of the year. We are getting on a roll with these. So today I'm going to take you through my back workout and also show you a little bit of full day of eating. I've already had meal one. I had 2 bagels and that was at about 8 o'clock. I was up at 5 a.m. this morning for a client. So I'm going to show you the pre-workout meal, which will be chicken and rice, and then I will talk you through kind of like the plans for the back day, and then I'll show you the rest of my meals I have. So yeah, let's get to it. Right, so you've just seen I've just prepped my pre-workout meal and my post-workout meal. They are both the exact same thing, and that is 140 grams of raw weight jasmine rice, 200 grams of chicken, a good chunk of butter. I don't track the butter just because I pretty much do the same amount every single day. I more or less know what it is. And yeah, that's kind of what I'll do. And obviously I'll show you all the seasoning used and whatnot. So yeah, this kind of looks like. Fucking hell, I'll zoom out. So yeah, so just it's pretty simple, pretty easy. Growing up, I was a very fussy eater, and now it's actually turned into a bit of a advantage slash benefit, just because I got so used to eating the same things every single day anyway. So like for me, it's like a pretty normal thing. So people ask me, oh, like how do you eat the same thing 3 times a day? Because that's what my also last meal of the day is. And I was like, to be honest, it doesn't really bother me. I'm at that point now where like 1, I've got a goal to achieve. 2 is food, like just make it taste good, and 3 is kind of what I've been doing my whole life anyway, being a fussy little twat. So currently 12:30, so I'm gonna leave for the gym in about 15 minutes. Just gonna get my last few bits together, wash up and all that good stuff, and then get a roll on. But I just thought it'd be quite funny. So today I'm switching to doing stiff leg deadlifts from RDL. So after analysing my form on RDLs, I realized that my form is very leg dominant when obviously I'm doing on a back day when I want it to be much more back dominant. And then if I look back at my footage of me doing regular conventional deadlifts, I already do a very back dominant like deadlift, like my legs are almost stiff anyway. So I thought I'm gonna give stiff leg deadlifts a try. So going to take you along for that as well today, so it should be fun. So I'm going to get my belt out today, which I have not used in a very long time. So I'm going to go and put it on and see if it even can get around my my belly. Right, so the last time I wore this belt I think was just before prep started, so this was at the last time I was at anywhere near this kind of body weight. So the first time I used this belt, I had it one more notch in, and you could probably see from like here, I had it one more in and I moved the one around as I put a bit more weight on. So let's see how this fits now. Oh, it's a tight fit. Okay. No, that's not happening. Okay, that's gonna mean you need to move a few notches in. Oh! Right, so we are now at Physique for pull. So going to be doing stiff leg deadlift, single arm pull downs, then it should be an incline mid back dumbbell row, then we're going to try a new low row, probably single arm low row, and then from there we'll do the prime mid back row, and then it'll be pullovers with some rear delts. So that should be the session. Going to take you through probably one top set per movement, and then obviously I'll talk you through it with a little voiceover. So crack on.
Welcome everyone to today's back voiceover. So as I explained earlier, I've now switched to stiff leg deadlifts. I used to do deadlifts a lot back in the early days of when I was just lifting, kind of doing more powerlifting style. So pretty much rip up the concentric and then not control the weight down whatsoever. So that was the only thing kind of unfamiliar about this movement. But apart from that, I was quite happy with how it went. I also used a deadlift bar for the first time as well, which if you don't know has a lot more whip in it. So what that means is as the weight gets heavier, the bar will bend and basically cause a whipping action as you like produce power, which then can either favor you or not favor you. As you'll see in my top set, which will be momentarily, it did not favor me. On my last rep, the whip just pulled me down. I couldn't get out the hole and up again. So this is something I need to work on, but I think I might just stick with a regular bar because I'm going to be doing alternating pull sessions at the Physique gym and also at Gym Joint. So just a couple of things here. So obviously you want your feet probably about in line with your hips. Some people prefer slightly outside of hip width, but I prefer a bit narrow of a stance. Toes slightly externally rotated, so slightly pointing out. And then hand grip's going to be literally either side of your legs. So this is, excuse me, what it's going to do is cause you to create a very compact, powerful spring to all explode off the floor from. And then obviously next part is getting that lower back in, getting that back flat, including getting that chin tucked in. The chin tucking is probably one of the biggest problems I see with everyone's deadlifts is that people just aren't doing it. You need to keep your chin tucked in because people forget like, oh, flat back. Well, you think the reason why we have flat back is so we protect our spine and obviously and the muscles in our back. People forget that the spine goes all the way into the neck, which means we need to keep that complete like alignment of the straightness of the spine. So people need to tuck their chins in. So back flat, chin tucked, deep breath, and then making sure you're exploding up, squeezing through. Trying to keep your back and your legs, almost thinking of them as like two separate parts, then having the pivot point being your hips. So you're going to push the hips back and collapse the hips to create the range of motion. But that kind of sorts things for stiff deadlift. So next up we have the single arm pull down. As you'll see here, the clip is a little bit blurry, and I think that's just to do with the harsh lighting on the black walls. It just seems to distort a lot of my images on my camera. So I'm going to try and find a way to block this out and correct the issue. So when we are setting up the single arm pull down, the idea is we want to have the elbow completely in line with the side of the torso. And what we're going to do is focusing on is driving that elbow right down to that hip crease where your leg meets your torso. And we're going to tuck it in nice and deep. And what we're going to do is just really try and chase that connection on here. Putting through the pinky to try and create an extra proprioceptive feel. And yeah, that's kind of it really. These are the reasons I do these first is because I want to establish that connection with my lats before I go into any other movements. especially after RDLs. You're already a little bit fatigued, so I kind of want to make sure I get that connection built so I can then move on with the rest of my session. I worked up to a very fairly heavy weight on this. I'm getting quite strong in these. I'm only 2 pins away from full stacking, so very excited to obviously full stack and then actually have the excuse to use the gym pin. One thing with these is that definitely you can let form slip. For example, you can let your chest collapse. Obviously your elbow may not come down quite as far as obviously you'd want. So these are just things you need to make sure you stay on top of as you progress this exercise and as things get harder and harder. So the third exercise going into this back day is a chest-supported incline mid-back dumbbell row. Rather a long description / name, but we move. So we're going to have the bench on a slight 45-degree incline here, and what we're going to do is we're going to set up our torso so it slightly rounds over the top of the bench. What this is going to do is allow for us to have some thoracic extension and extension and flexion. That's the one. Got to remember the old B-Tech sports science. So basically what we're going to do then is stretch down. I'm going to have a slight internal rotation of my hands to create even more stretch, and then to cue the contraction I'm going to bring my scapulars back together and drive the elbows up and through that mid-back. The most important thing on this is making sure I keep a nice consistent tempo, not stopping at any point if I can, only stopping if I need to maybe have a slight rearranging of my body positioning, but apart from that, I try and stay as basically in the movement as possible. Going on to exercise number 4. So here we have a seated single arm cable row. So the way we are going to set this up is we're going to have our body slightly tilted forward, and we're going to cue driving that elbow low and back towards that hip crease, not coming past the body, literally coming to inline or just in front, as that is where the lat stops being contracted. I recently put these in as I had before a supinated cable row on the machine, but I just wasn't a fan of it anymore. I've got to the point where I was doing 2 pins off the top of the stack, so I was starting to lose that connection, and it was just all weight and no feel. So I went for something a bit more feel based. Something I will do next time to increase the efficiency of this movement is I'm going to put something underneath my bum to raise me up. As you can see here, the cable line is quite high, which is then not forcing me, but it does make you then to have the tendency to pull high. So if we can move the cable position lower, we can focus on more low drive and recruit less bicep. But apart from that, very happy with this movement. It's going to be interesting to progress as the cable stack on this is actually very heavy for single arm, so should be a challenge, but it wouldn't be fun without a challenge, would it now, boys and girls? So moving on to the last recorded exercise, I actually did some pull-aparts as well and whatever. I can't remember whether exercise I did on this as well because I'm recording this a few days later. But I didn't record them because I just couldn't find a good place to set my camera up as I'm trying to find a tripod so I can solve the solution. But for now, we have got the prime mid-back row. This has become something this is a movement I've become heavily in love with. It's a gorgeous movement. As this was the last compound per se movement, I loaded up the drop off so that way as I contract and get weaker, the weight will drop off. So I had 4 plates and a 5 on top, so 4 20s and a 5. Then I just had 1 plate in the form of 2 10s in the middle. And then what I'm going to do is once I've maxed out the top pin, I'm going to start loading up the mid-range a bit more. So yeah, same thing as the incline mid-back row. So what I want to do is cue scapular retraction and then pulling the elbows through to go wherever part of the back I want to contract, in this case the mid-back. So we're going to drive those elbows right through that mid-back and squeeze. I try hold a pause at the top here for as long as possible, but as I start to weaken, it is very hard. Again, on this, I'm really to make sure I'm trying to chase a good feel on this as well. As with mid-back, you can get a bit lost in the weight. But apart from that, again, very, very good exercise. I'm just very happy to have access to equipment like Prime Kit now, and something I can utilize and really get specific with my training. But yeah, so if you guys got any questions regarding form or any kind of comments on how to structure your back workouts, leave a comment down below and I will get back to you. If not, send me a DM at my Instagram at Josh Miller Hall. And now I'm going to take you on to some posing.
And I've been chillin', watching the ocean with you, baby, up with a slow motion crew, and we we up in our growlings when people change, but not us. And we just chillin', kicking it, kissed by the sun. Could be soaked to the skin in the morning. I know she got the good vibes when seasons change, but we're the same.
There we go. Right, so that concludes. Try to find out if I can get my full face in this. Right, so that concludes the. No, I need you. That concludes the back session. I hope you enjoyed. Definitely was a very good session. One of the best ones I've had yet so far this year. I was off to a bit of a rocky start this year. I won't lie, the first couple of sessions I was like, oh, this isn't great. But we are starting to get some momentum now, so that's good. So hope you enjoyed. Fucking regular content is coming. I'm so determined to make it this year. So like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will catch you guys in the next one.